Okay. So, yeah, 4 chapters. Like, legit, this is probably one of the most craziest things because, funnily enough, go support Studio Reverie because we're at the end of Arc 6 by this point. In this recording, by the way, we're like done with Phase 4, so we're at the final phase. So, going back to, like, just bear with me for a second. For Arc 6, I do recall that Lai was considered the better gluttony. Even Louis Arnev is also considered one of the better gluttonies. Roy Alphard, his biggest screw up was, well, eating Rita Estrella. Oh, by the way, spoilers. There'll be spoilers in the edited version, just giant subtitles saying spoiler warning. But, and also in the title of the video. But, yeah, that was his biggest mess up. And guess what happened? He basically got consumed by Rita Estrella, and Rita Estrella basically took over. Which, I mean, caused a whole different set of problems. But the reason I'm bringing up that scenario is because obviously Roy looked a bit foolish for doing that. And now we have Roy, the final gluttony, because Lewis is unknown. She's now Spica, well, the one that has a real body, and then lies dead. So Roy is the true final gluttony. And I want to say there are parallels between Petra and Roy at this moment, but I'll get to those at the end. So I'm just going to cover chapters 43 all the way to 46. So I'm not really going to go in a particular order. Everything just goes together because Petra right now is sacrificing so much that, yeah, it is a bit concerning. Which, I mean, we'll get to on the matter of her sacrifices because it's a shit ton of them. But one of the main factors was, why did Roy's thing did not work? Because he's trying to eat Ram's name. That didn't work. So he paired into Otto's memories because his understanding is, in order to quote it, why? How? Understanding marriage, Ram, true name, daunting to her younger sister, awful taste, the Margrave, earnest, ill-natured, superiority, dependable, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of stuff. It basically is him using Otto's memories in order to get like a pretext of what could have happened. Did Ram married Roswell in order to try to get around the eating? Because he tried to just eat Ram and that didn't work. So he tried Ram Mathers. And guess what? That didn't work. Oh, Tape, you big damn troll. Like, that did not work. And, of course, no one was expecting that. It was such a big surprise. Which, now, the way they went about this is that Ram, or Petra with Ghost Subaru, probably suspected that Roy was going to figure something out. And, like, the whole group probably suspected that, so instead, Ram is not Ram or Ram Mathers, no. Now she's Ram Leyte, which is Petra's last name. And, yeah, I mean, that was not something that all of us were thinking. I remember people thinking Ram could be using, like, her real name is the Oni God thing, which, and there's that. I had my dumb theory, oh, maybe they swapped Ram and Ram, but I obviously knew it wasn't going to be a real theory, because it was just kind of me throwing something. But no, they decided, let's have Ram have Petra's last name to essentially work. And it is kind of stated in the text that taking advantage of the system, an unnatural proceeding to become adopted children had been performed for all personnel on the front lines. So essentially, Petra adopted everyone. It's essentially the way to make sure that everything aligns to what they need. And this is kind of smart because it basically forces everything to go exactly how Petra's team needs it to go, where Lai's not gonna, or not Lai, Roy is not gonna know this. Like, he's genuinely not gonna figure out that clearly everyone is now the child of Petra, I guess. But that is, I mean, it's one way to counter Gluttony, because I don't even think Otto would have figured that out. At least not with enough time. But even then, I doubt they're gonna figure that out. So we actually get a flashback. Now we're in chapter 44, if you're curious. So this flashback kind of goes into a few interesting things with apparently Roy eating Felt, which is now apparently Felor, the one of the children of the royal family. And look, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off because someone's gonna say it. Yeah, Felt is faking it here. Roy and Felt make a deal in order to try to trick Aldebaran, because Roy is clearly not in Al's side. He wants to be free. He wants to eat to his own content, but the stupid thing that he has with Al is preventing him, so he's frustrated. What better way than to have Felt and him make a deal? He doesn't need her memories, she pretends that he did, and trying to basically trick everyone into thinking that Felt is Felor. Felor, yeah, Felor. Anyway, this is important because it essentially makes Hunkel think, oh shoot, I was gonna kill Felor, the last of the royal family. Also the fact that if this is true, then it essentially means that Felt wins by default because she would be part of the royal family. Now, obviously, this is all a ploy, and Roy doesn't even know if that really is Felt's name. Though I'm thinking Tappe is kind of screwing with us. I definitely do think that she probably is, but we probably won't know till next arc. I really want to say a lot of the stuff that's happening here is mainly my eye. It's mainly setting up stuff for the next arc. Like, think of it this way. Roy now knows that the witch factor of melancholy is with the Emilia camp. And that was apparently a factor that Capella has been looking for. Which basically means if Roy does escape, then you damn well know Capella's going to go after them. And obviously Felor, or Felt, thinking it could be Felor if anything comes up with that specific thing. But that's not even the crazy thing. The crazy thing is that Roy also had a little insurance policy. Like, Roy is thinking ahead. He's not just mindlessly throwing himself into just wanting to eat everything. Like, right now, he's being ungluttony because he is sort of in a position that he cannot afford to just start going crazy. So, one of the interesting factors is, if Felt for some reason betrays him, or if there's a scenario where he doesn't survive, he's essentially has, like, an insurance policy to make sure that he can survive it. And that insurance policy is the damn Black Serpent. Now, who would have thought, like, genuinely speaking, seeing the Black Serpent here is insane. Because it is one of, like, the 3 big mob beasts and stuff. And it's one of the ones that is, like, the plagues. If you recall from Season 2, like, poor Archie, like, dude, one hit, he cut off his leg, and even then, he was just done. There was no way he was going to survive that. And yet, in the Q&As, interestingly enough, we have it where, apparently, his entire, like, whether Archie survived or not is a spoiler, which, I mean, what the hell do you want me to say? It's probably that he's dead. Or alive. No, he's alive. 70% he's alive, because why else would he say spoiler? But maybe he's alive in a different way. I wouldn't be surprised by this. But kind of shaking myself a bit on this. With the chapter 45, a lot of it is, I think one of the more important things to put is that Petra is sacrificing a lot. There's, like, a lot of crazy things, but we do get an interesting thing about, like, say, the serpent. Like, the serpent is... how to put it? The serpent is kind of an amalgamation of just disgusting things. Like, it literally is just a creature of destruction. And we get something of interesting lore. Apparently there were 5 nations, and the snake destroyed one of them, which shows us the exact threat that the damn thing is. But one of the most major things is that Melee being there sort of helps in trying to kind of stall the thing, even though it's overusing Melee's ability. Roy is kind of reflecting in chapter 45, essentially, where everything is going wrong, and then realizing that Petra is the key. She's the one that he needs to stop, because she is the one with the melancholy witch factor, and the one with the plans. As well as the fact that, obviously, more people come in, more of the Felt camp assisting, and the reason everyone is such in sync, because he also reflects how this scenario is making him think, why am I being pushed? It's similar to like Aldebaran. And it's like, because the melancholic ability is assisting in essentially getting everyone up to speed. So everyone's already like all thinking super rapidly on what's going on and stuff, and that is obviously such a disadvantage to Roy, because I mean, everyone's so on board and sync that it is insane for him to actually be able to do anything. And then obviously with the latest chapter that came out today, I mean, there's so much to really go over. I don't want to bombard it with this video because honestly, it's kind of insane, all this stuff. But the reason now I want to circle back to why I said Roy and Petra kind of similar is Petra is being influenced by Subaru. Like, clearly all the sacrifices she's doing is insanely because Subaru would do those exact sacrifices. Like, if he was the one who did the melancholy and had to save, say, Emilia, Ram, Petra, like most of those like main core people, and yet the melancholic and understood like how Petra understood the ability, you damn well know Subaru would sacrifice every single thing to make sure that they can win the fight. Because Petra and Subaru have something in common. They're not like frontline fighters. They cannot actually be able to be on the front lines. Like, yeah, Subaru can be in certain scenarios, but let's keep in mind that, I mean, majority of them he would honestly fail. But for this one, like, I mean, against Roy, he wouldn't really be able to do much, even with his whip skills. So, yeah, Petra's essentially taking a lot of the sacrifices, which is insane, but Roy is kind of reflecting when Reed kind of took over his personality and kind of showing that Reed had an influence on Roy, which is why he's kind of readjusting his Eclipse ability, which makes the fight a lot more tense because he's also realizing Petra's burning through her resources. So, yeah, it's only so much Petra can sacrifice before there's nothing left to sacrifice. And if that happens, well, I mean, the enemy has a chance to actually counter. So now it's a game, now it's a countdown, sort of. Petra and her group have to defeat Roy before, like, she burns through every single thing. Roy has to hold out long enough in order to, well, escape. Like, he can eat everyone, but I think he's kind of good and wants to leave, since escaping here would essentially mean he would survive, since he knows if he sticks around, Aldebaran's gonna kill him eventually. So he's not really wanting to stick around anymore. And even Felt kind of realized what Petra's doing and was cheering her on. Like, literally, there's nothing much we can do. Also, the goat himself, the Titanic Scorpion. No, I'm joking. If you watch one of the streams, Titanic Scorpion is a funny character. But I'll place the link below for that little funny.
I want you all to know that crash out came because if I had to say Titanic Scorpion one more fucking time, that does not make sense. That does not make grammatical sense.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Titanic Scorpion.
The two top phrases of
Titanic
this chapter were Titanic Scorpion
Take a fucking
and
shot.
and
Interim Louis.
Interim Louis was so stupid.
Interim Louis and Titanic Scorpion. I was like, what the
Interim
sorry,
Louis.
which call?
Interim Louis.
I'm so sorry, which call?
I feel so bad
can't.
for Kyle.
It's just like, I need to make sure that they know that Louis isn't in Louis's body so I can say he.
Yeah.
And over and over again.
Oh my god. The back and forth of the pronouns was crazy.
But no, Scorpion Shala comes in and saves Melee. And also Garfield arrives, my boy. Look, Garfield's arrival, I want to say, is going to be the game changer that'll beat Aldebaran. I have a theory that Garfield will be the one to at least knock Aldebaran down. If not him, then, I mean, I guess Rem, I guess Emilia. But I want it to be Garf. But anyway, I think, oh my god, I think to conclude this, Roy is put in a position, like, he's genuinely in one of the most intense scenarios, because, obviously, like I said, countdown scenario. Petra has to beat him right here and now, because otherwise, Roy is gonna come back, and trust me, he's gonna come back with Capella, and even then, like, they have to be able to defeat Roy now, because if they burn through all of their resources, it just makes the fight against Aldebaran that much harder, because we haven't seen Al's entire fight, outside of the fact that what I've spoke that one time, where Rem basically mistakens Al and other chick that they are in love, and two of them got mad at her. But that was it. We haven't seen much of Al. Also, Heinkel got like consumed by the Black Serpent. I doubt he's dead. There's no way his story's gonna end right there. That'd be kind of lame. I mean, yeah, dude deserves a lot more help for all the shit he's done, but let me just say, I don't think his story ends there. He did try to use Felt as a bargaining chip, and that backfired on him really badly. And even then, like, Felt knows, as much as she hates him, you can't let him die, so there's that. Like, there's so much that kind of happens, it's insane, especially covering 4 chapters at the same time. But if I were to leave it off, there is something that kind of, I'll put it in the section of the video, there's something that I'm kind of worried, that I understand the community is also worried, the Great Reset theory. Now, I don't think I've talked about it. If I have, well, I'll repeat myself a little. The Great Reset theory essentially says, once Subaru's freed, he's gonna go back, use Return by Death, go back to the exact point when he got captured, and everything we see here is undone. Now, I will say my opinions on this in a better video, like break through the positive negatives with this, which is mainly negatives because I'm just about to say, I hate that idea. Like, yeah, Petra would be saved, everything would be saved, we'd lose Rem in the process, but that's not even the big problem. The big problem is that Arc 7. Now, why to bring up Arc 7? It's because the Gladiator arc. A lot of people really enjoyed the whole thing up until everything was just undone. Like, he had to go back and redo all the relationships, and we know he was able to be successful and stuff. But my problem comes down to what most people, I assume, is it takes away the stakes if Subaru can just undo a shit ton of stuff. And it would really feel like everything kills the stakes for sure if Tappei uses the Great Reset theory. I genuinely do not see that. Well, you see, I see it happening, and I'm just saying, please don't do it, Tappei. Like, I genuinely am begging. Do not do the reset theory. It's not something fun, per se, but it is essentially one of my most gripest things to just have the entire story get undone by Return by Death. Like, I get it, like, certain things, you know, Arc 3. Arc 3, for example. When he died, guess what? It was right after Emilia and him had the fight. Like, that stayed undone, essentially. Like, that was permanent. And you need some consequences for some stuff. And having Subaru not be able to return back would be the greatest consequence. Because he trusted Al, he put too much faith in him, he tried to help him out, and that backfired on his face. Having him go back and defeat Al, I mean, it would be something, but it would kind of undo all the hard work everyone did. But, yeah, I mean, look, Chapter 46 just came out. I might have missed a few things. Like, there's a lot of crazy stuff with Petra and her ability that, honestly, I kind of want to wait till the entire phase is done in order to get my full thoughts on just how busted Melancholic has become. But I've also noticed that it is possible that the price for the authority is being paid by everyone else as well, because there's no damn way that Petra can essentially do it all on her own. But you know what? That'll be for another video. This one is long enough, and I am so happy if you made it to the end because, oh my gosh, it's kind of crazy how things have gone by. But yeah, honestly, Arc 9 is literally going to make or break depending on the Great Reset theory, because that everything holds on that specific thing. Now, could the Great Reset theory work? Maybe, but do we really want a Great Reset theory? That is the better question. But anyway, I want to know your thoughts on what you guys think of the latest chapters, and what do you predict? I predict that, at the very least, Roy might actually get away. And the only reason I think that is, I guess you need at least Roy to tell Capella about Melancholy to bring her into the story in a more natural way. Also to give a little more stakes on it. Plus, if Roy escapes, I mean, you know, Julius. I want Julius to be the one to defeat Roy. But if Roy dies here, I'm not complaining. But anyway, this is Green Witch, and I'm signing out with Subaru Model. Peace out.